Breaking news. Welcome to today's headlines. I was in prison. Tinubu gave my wife a house, paid my kids' fees. I was in prison. Tinubu gave my wife a house, paid my kids' fees. To my dear listeners, from wherever you're listening from, please stay tuned as I read today's news. Asari Dokubo says, when he was in prison, Tinubu gave his wife a house, also paid his kids' fees. Tinubu was so kind to me when I was in jail. He paid for the school expenses for my kids. At VGC, he gave me a house. He gave my wife a house in Ogba. I tracked mouse when Tinubu was brought to the code of conduct for trial, and when I arrived in court, he came to embrace me after the court session. Dokubo claimed that Tinubu has many qualities that would raise Nigeria above all expectations, and that if Nigerians do not vote for him, they will miss out on a lot. Asari Dokubo says, when he was in prison, Tinubu gave his wife a house, paid his kids' fees. Tinubu was so kind to me when I was in jail. He paid for the school expenses for my kids. At VGC, he gave me a house. He gave any wife a house in Ogba. I tracked mouse when Tinubu was brought to the code of conduct for trial, and when I arrived in court, he came to embrace me after the court session. Dokubo claimed that Tinubu has many qualities that would raise Nigeria above all expectations, and that if Nigerians do not vote for him, they will miss out on a lot. Asari Dokubo says, when he was in prison, Tinubu gave his wife a house, paid his kids' fees. Tinubu was so kind to me when I was in jail. He paid for the school expenses for my kids. At VGC, he gave me a house. He gave my wife a house in Oba. I tracked mouse when Tinubu was brought to the code of conduct for trial, and when I arrived in court, he came to embrace me after the court session. Dokubo claimed that Tinubu has many qualities that would raise Nigeria above all expectations, and that if Nigerians do not vote for him, they will miss out on a lot. So my dear listeners, now I've come to the end of our today's news, and now before I go, in my own opinion concerning this news, I wonder what these people says, which they actually feel they are protecting Tinubu's image while they are destroying it much in a very much way. Historically, Asari Dokubo is a militant. So now tell me what help has Asari Dokubo rendered for Nigeria or for Tinubu personally, if not he has done worst. Maybe he has carried an evil work for Tinubu because I wonder which work Asari Dokubo must have done that made Tinubu give a house to his wife, gave house to him, and paid his kids' fees. Initially, they are not related by blood. So tell me what work, which work, how Asari Dokubo must have been related to Tinubu for him to have thought of doing all those things, give giving out two houses and paying kids fees. And I'm certainly sure they would have done more, but they would just not disclose it here. So, my dear listeners, let's move down to the comment section. Our first comment for today's news here says, Tinubu is not a problem, my brother. The man beside him is. He had a chance to make amends. He refused. You have right to your options. Another comment here says, Asari, please think of a better thing to say to sell your candidate. I bet you for these reasons he is going nowhere. Thank God he did all that for you, but Nigerians have grown beyond that level, please. Another comment here says, that's enough reason for you that Nigerians should be mortgaged for him. Miscreant. To my dear listeners from wherever you're listening from, please stay tuned as I read today's news.